Netflix's Castlevania is, without exaggeration, an incredibly impressive series. In spite of the several factors that it had against it, oh man, we just missed it. The show truly thrived in a sea of mediocrity. Not just the stellar animation and detailed art style, not just the fantastic art direction and soundtrack. What truly makes Castlevania a terrific show is its immensely well-crafted story. A character-driven story that delves into the depths of grief, vengeance, humanity, and as cliche as it sounds, love. Seriously, the depiction of love in this show is just, oh my god. Dracula's vendetta against humanity for the horrendous murder of his wife sets in motion this story of three very distinct, developed, and highly compatible characters trying to save a world from its own fate. A cruel world that thrives on darkness and depravity. In fact, certain prominent factions take pleasure in causing suffering to others. But even in a bleak setting such as this, there is peace and innocence worth protecting. There is a spark of hope that refuses to die out. And even among the most vile and atrocity-committing psychopaths, the story commits to developing and fleshing them all out. Save a few rare exceptions. There are multiple plot lines focusing on fascinating and evolving events, all while delving deep into the psyche of each relevant character and challenging them to their core. Most of these people are not heroes. They aren't good or even decent, but they are compelling, competent, and intricately weaved into a story that is teeming with potential and willing to capitalize on every ounce of it. The dialogue is sharp and memorable, witty and personable, deceptively deep and profound. Every conversation Isaac has is worth its own dedicated video. However, it is by no means perfect. It's crass, graphic, and at times, straight up cringe. The twins were a mistake.
It's time for your reward.
But its positives far outweigh its negatives, transcending its source material as a truly fantastic and satisfying story. And it has earned its spot as one of the best anime of the modern age. Yes, it's an anime, calm down. And one of the greatest Western animations of all time. I cannot stress enough that it not only deserves its current level of fame and accolades, I believe it deserves far more still. Because it is, quite simply, that phenomenal a show. Its sequel, on the other hand, is the exact fucking opposite. Castlevania Nocturne is the physical embodiment of a urinary tract infection. Everything competent and exceptional that the original series has going for it, Nocturne utterly fails at. Okay. Everything incompetent and awful in the original series, Nocturne embraces and multiplies tenfold. It's so bad that I genuinely believe the people who created it made a bet to see how badly they could fuck up the Castlevania IP in just 16 episodes. This shit is quite intentional in its moronic makeup. If this fucking travesty is the inevitable conclusion of the matter, then perhaps Hayao Miyazaki was right after all. Anime was indeed a mistake. Please do get comfortable while I elaborate. Before we begin, however, I need to make clear one thing. I do not care how faithful an adaptation this is to the games. My focus is and has always been on the execution of the story a particular media is telling as a standalone product. The only thing I'll take into account is the original Netflix series because this is a sequel to that story. If you came here for an adaptation analysis, this is not the video for you. I would suggest Gillian Sneed's A Lengthy Critique of Castlevania Nocturne instead. Now, with that out of the way, let us begin. This dumbass story opens in 1783, Boston, Massachusetts, fresh after America won its independence. Which is interesting because, as you all know, this time period features quite a few factors the story will have to account for, such as guns, colonialism, widespread literacy, and schooling, things of that nature. But more importantly, it must also account for all of the developments specific to this world carried over from the previous series, which occurred several centuries prior. That means the church, the speakers, and the Belmont's true history and legacy has to be accounted for. Trevor Belmont suffered greatly because of the church's persecution of his family.
What have the church said about the Belmonts? That you have been corrupted by dealings with the supernatural?
The Belmonts dealt in black magic. The Belmonts dealt with monsters.
The Belmonts fought monsters, son.
That you mock God?
Despite the crimes your family has committed against God, you will walk safely.
My family committed no crime. You people simply decided we were wrong to defend this land against the supernatural.
That you are a threat to the common good and that evil follows wherever you go.
Belmont, I thought your family had vanished.
If vanished is the polite way of saying exiled, hated, and burned out of the ancestral home, then this is what the church wanted. My family were the only people who could have fought Dracula and his army, but they didn't want us. They wanted to fight the darkness on their own terms. Good luck to them. I know what it's like to be persecuted by your own country for the accident of your birth.
The original series saw the church pay for that betrayal 10 times over, being reduced to small broken cities scattered throughout Europe where it once had a stranglehold on the entire continent.
Argovista is gone. The other great cities are lost or losing. Greshit will be the last major city in Wallachia. To all intents and purposes, I will be the church.
Let me kiss you.
What you say?
Trevor and his allies saving humanity, and by extension the church, from near extinction would be on record, especially with how efficient the church's network still was among its disparate remnants.
How do you know this?
Information still gets carried between minsters.
The corrupt and backwards beliefs of the church were done away with when many of the officials and followers were wiped out. Trevor, Sypha, and Alucard would not allow the unwarranted persecution of the Belmont clan and the speakers to quietly die in secret.
And what about the church? We've both seen how corrupt and twisted it is, and who knows what else is happening out there. What then?
Well, what then?
Then we're not finished, are we?
Alucard certainly wouldn't allow the corruption to continue if he was in character, but we'll get to that way later. The point is, there's no way that vampires, magic, night creatures, and the various occult aspects of this world would be unknown. And certainly the people who have saved the human race multiple times in a single lifetime and continuously fight back the forces of evil as a full-blown profession would be well known. The last son of the Belmont clan, his speaker magician partner and wife, and Alucard the Dhampir, would be possibly the most prominent figures in world history leading up to this series. Otherwise, none of this will make any sense whatsoever. The very worldwide historical record of an army of world-famous vampires traveling to Wallachia simultaneously in an attempt to annihilate the human race would not go unnoticed. I understand that back in the day, things were hard to document, keep track of, and distribute across the world, but surely you'd concede that global conquests are always well documented. Everybody knew about Alexander the Great and Genghis Khan back in the day, even if they didn't know everything about them. They still knew there were two fucking mad lads that waged big bloody wars and took over a lot of territory. Make no mistake, Dracula and then Carmilla's attempts to destroy humanity / take over the world were two of the biggest attempts at global conquests in history. Alexander the Great and Genghis Khan were like fucking toddlers throwing tantrums compared to these two tyrannical maniacs, and everybody knew about Alex and Genghis in 1783. So everyone should know about Dracula and Carmilla, and even the people that worked directly under them. Or at the very least, the story of Dracula and Carmilla would be known, if not their nature as vampires and their true motives for conquest. Hell, Hector even said,
I think I'm gonna write a book.
The future should know the mistakes we made.
So there's no excuse. All of this must be well known by now. To do otherwise wouldn't make any sense whatsoever. Advances in technology and medicine, the very reason why Lisa sought out Dracula in the first place, setting this entire story into motion, has to be accounted for. There is no way in fucking hell that the advances in medicine and technology that Dracula had access to in the 1400s would not be widespread and further developed by 1783. There's absolutely no way that wouldn't happen. Alucard would make it his goal in his very, very, very long life to fulfill his mother's greatest wish for humanity, to heal people, improve their quality of life, and help them advance out of backwards troglodyte customs and beliefs. The same backwards troglodyte customs and beliefs that got her killed and served as the inciting incident for the whole story. So things like magic mirrors should be commonplace. Conventional medicine should be widely understood and practiced. Scientific achievements in astronomy, chemistry, biology, geology, even philosophy and theology should have advanced leaps and bounds by 1783. So much so that the culture and societies would be closer to more modern cultures and societies. This wouldn't be a problem if Dracula's castle was destroyed and all the materials inside were lost to time, or if they were unknown to Alucard and many other characters that shared Lisa's ideals, but that is very clearly, very obviously not the case. Lisa herself is alive along with Dracula at the end of the series. They would inherently share their knowledge and technology in their corner of the world, if nowhere else. This is who Lisa Tepish is, and this is who Dracula Tepish becomes when he's with her. They wouldn't sit by and watch his people suffer needlessly. And again, because the church wouldn't be persecuting people that practice magic or immediately destroying things they don't understand, there would be no reason not to share their knowledge post-season 4. Actually, you know what? There should be an additional fucking renaissance post-season 4. I mean, do you realize how quickly the world, but specifically Europe, developed during the actual Renaissance? That's 14th to 17th century, so the network of information would be quite sufficient across the world.
Information still gets carried between minsters.
OG Castlevania takes place 3 entire centuries before Nocturne. There has to have been a surplus of knowledge, innovation, enlightenment, and development before this date. We should be looking at a nigh unrecognizable version of the 18th century here, simply because world-changing technology and information would be widely distributed and implemented.
Magic lanterns.
Lightning, not magic.
You put lightning into lamps and you tell us it's not magic?
It's really not.
It's funny how dumb you are.
The Parthians were storing lightning in jars 200 years before Christ.
Otherwise, none of this will make any sense whatsoever. Not to mention the infinite corridor that was the driving force behind Death's attempt to plunge the world back into permanent darkness. The myths and legends surrounding that would be brought to light as a fool's errand and a cautionary tale. The only man who came close to controlling it was used by a primordial being of pure malevolence and almost decimated the world. The sad story of SAJ-Man would be part of the speakers and the Belmont's story, a sobering warning to all who would dare approach such magics. The House of Belmont would be restored and on its way to surpassing its former glory, after suffering for so long. Because he was the last Belmont, Trevor would make it his life's goal to ensure the future of the Belmonts would never again be so bleak. Him and Sypha would be making so many babies it'd make a head spin, and he'd no doubt have tons of regular people who were inspired by his heroism and would want to take up vampire hunting for themselves. I mean, the twins are infamously terrible. But they set the precedent for non-Belmont vampire hunters that need and want to learn how to do their jobs better. These people would seek Trevor out. And why would he ever refuse them? He'd share his knowledge and expertise with the next generations to equip them against the supernatural evils of this world.
Back to the far side of the square! Pike! Up front now!
What? Why?
because I'm the only man here who knows how to fight these things. Everyone with a pike or long weapon, get out in front with me. 6 in front, 6 behind, and in between. Pikes forward. Hold steady. I need a priest, one who was properly ordained in a church. Grab some people, go to the nearest well, start drawing water. You know what to do with water, yes? For the aspersion, go! I want them walled in when they hit the square. I want it so they can only come towards us. I want salt over here! As much as you can find! Everyone with a sword wipes their blades in the salt. Now! 4 steps forward! Rear pike up! Cut him down! Salt kills demons! Don't forget! Spread the word! I terrify them. Cypher disorients them, Alucard goes over the top, and we support him.
You do need to understand. I'm sharing all of this with you so that you'll remember it and pass it on. Not just the war making. Everything. I think Trevor Belmont would like the idea of equipping a new generation of monster hunters.
That way, it wouldn't just be the Belmonts left to protect humanity. There would be several houses to support them in that effort. The Belmonts would have partners, servants, apprentices, acolytes, not you, and all manner of supporters across the globe.
Behold, you sulky, half-vampire bastard. I bequeath you the Belmont Hold. Make that and the castle your home.
You're giving me your home?
It's yours. Make something out of it. Something better than a pile of ruins and a symbol of terror.
These people aren't going back to Dynasty. We're going to found a new village here, around the castle and the hold.
We could change everything here.
We're going to have schools, one of which will be all about the libraries of the castle and the hold.
The supernatural forces of the world would have a hard time rising against that powerful a legacy. Otherwise, none of this will make any sense whatsoever. And lest we forget, 2 of the most incredible characters of the previous series, Hector and Isaac's entire character arcs ended with them determining that they would rather change the world than destroy it.
I am interested in building a way to live.
That was the entire point of their characters, to take people disillusioned with the world, but with so much potential to change said world, and finally getting them to a point where they would want to change their world for the better. Let go of their immaturity and vengeance for the sake of looking to the future and building something new and better.
I will instead build something new on all these old bones. Something where people can live for a future.
Yes, I understand that Hector said he'd like to be alone with Lenore, but since Lenore's departure, he would have no one to be alone with. No one except Isaac, who doesn't want to be alone anymore. The 2 of them had gone through similar arcs and changed their entire outlook on the world and their place in it. And in the same scene, Hector admits he'd like to make things and think, presumably big thoughts, and later to Lenore, he desires to write a book cataloging all that he was a part of, with the express purpose of warning future generations of the mistakes that every character connected to him committed. Through those small things alone, he would change the world. But certainly with Isaac's intent to build something new for people to live in the future, it would change the world that much faster. These 2, probably more than any other character in the original series, would have the most impact on the world, due to the sheer wealth of knowledge, expertise, and experience they both have, and their expressed desires to literally change the world for the better, to ensure a brighter future, avoiding the mistakes they've observed in their lives and the lives of all those they knew. Through Hector and Isaac, Styria would become a sort of mecca for that proposed renaissance I mentioned a second ago, and this cultural rebirth would ripple across the entire planet, or at the very least the entire continent of Europe. The arcane arts would be taught, explored, experimented with, and revolutionized for all. Technology would be shared and improved upon upon, leading to further and further innovations. Night creatures and the nature of humanity, the spiritual world, and other existential queries would be explored, researched, and cataloged in depth. And more likely than anything else, the dangers of meddling with the natural order of the world would be well known, through Hector's book and Isaac's careful ruling of their territory. Otherwise, none of this will make any sense whatsoever. Last, but certainly not least, remember Striga and Morana, the only surviving members of Carmilla's Council of Sisters? They abandoned Styria to salvage a life for themselves in cities to the west, with a vampire army of their own and no sights on big plans.
Vampires always have plans, don't we? Maybe it's just in our nature to overreach, grasp at too much at once, try to drink everything. Maybe that's why in the end, we win all the battles, but always lose the war.
What if there isn't a plan? What if it's just you and I?
I think I might be all right with that.
Striga, you and I? It's not like we ever really needed anything else.
The cities to the west of Styria are their territory, so what would become of a land ruled solely by these two uniquely self-aware vampires? Perhaps their territory would become a sanctuary for vampires, but under strict orders to never cause trouble with the other nations, to deter another Carmilla-esque debacle for them. Would that kingdom last, or would another faction come to wipe them out? What would the Belmonts, the church, and the rest of humanity do about the vampires nesting in the west? Would they set up some kind of peace treaty or a truce of some sort? How would this vampire society conform to the changing world around them? There's a lot of unanswered questions that should be addressed in some way, because anything that happens would inevitably shape the world. Otherwise, none of this will make any sense whatsoever. The point I'm trying to make abundantly clear is that Nocturne has its work cut out for it already in setting this story so far into the future from the original series. There is a lot they must account for and utilize effectively in order to maintain both continuity and objective quality, especially during the recently independent American colonies and the beaten-back British Empire. There is a lot that would have to be blended together cohesively in order for this story to function in any capacity. Who wants to guess how that'll turn out? But let me simmer down a bit here. We're only a few seconds in. We haven't even met any characters yet. There's no reason to believe this won't be an awesome beginning to a wonderful story. I'm worrying for no reason. Surely. Why don't we just dive back in and enjoy the show? I'm sure we're in for a real treat here. Well, if it isn't our Belmonts of the evening. It's weird that there aren't any other Belmonts around, considering how vulnerable they are when they're alone. Where's Mama Belmont's squad of plucky sidekicks? Preferably made up of other Belmonts. Cousins, for instance, if not siblings or even the generation above her. Aunts, uncles, parents, and the like. But okay, if the Belmonts are having a weird scarcity in their bloodline, where's the friends of the family? Like magicians or some other magic person. Apprentices, servants, partners, acolytes, and all manner of supporters. Some kind of group that these two would be part of to help them in their never-ending quest to defeat supernatural evil. What in the world are they doing running around at night alone? This makes no sense. Where is this boy's daddy, Mama Belmont? It's almost as if you want to get killed. Oh. Now, there is a way that this setup could work. It could be that the Belmont clan has decided to spread themselves all over the world to better keep a handle on supernatural enemies. They can't stay in Europe exclusively while the next big bad sets up shop in America, now can they?
The family's originally from the Kingdom of France, but we moved out of there a few hundred years ago. We're professionals. We move where the work is. All the dark things moved into the east. I think it was a Leon Belmont who entered the region first.
My mother said she went to the New World because there was no one else. And she was the heir to the Belmont mission, and there were vampires there she had to fight.
Great work so far.
And maybe in an effort to keep every inch of the world covered, they've spread themselves too thin. So it's like each Belmont is on their own in some expansive territory. The problem still is that there isn't a team with the designated Belmont, like there was with Trevor and presumably the other Belmonts before him. Why doesn't Mama Belmont have servants, helpers, an apprentice or two, friends that can help her fight off supernatural evils? Does she know anyone in this entire city that can assist her? Just anybody? At this point, I would take a few guys with muskets and a nanny for baby Belmont. That would be the barest minimum of support that this woman would have in all likelihood. Otherwise, I have to question her entire life before tonight. How did she live before this point? How did she do her all-too-important job of slaying evil if she was by herself with a baby? Actually, how? This obviously isn't her first rodeo, and she's been successful at this job before, as will be exposited in a minute. So how did she survive all this time before tonight? How did her and her son survive all this time before tonight? Did she just get super lucky all the time? Surely, she must have had some level of help in fighting evil, or at the very least, she's such an awesome vampire hunter that she can beat the worst of the worst solo no problem. Which doesn't add up with how the rest of this scene goes, so the only other choice is she's just been incredibly lucky, and tonight, her luck's run out. Or she had a team to work with, but conveniently they're not here right now. Also, they never get mentioned at any point in the series, which is unlikely to an impossible and insane degree. Either way, this is contrived as hell and clearly wasn't thought through in the slightest. The writers wanted a certain payoff and didn't do any of the work to set it up properly, which is always a sign of great writing, isn't it? I guess we ought to look at the actual dialogue, which is coming across as quite clunky and expository.
I thought I was supposed to fight evil. I thought that was the whole point.
Okay, counterpoint.
God, why do you have to argue about everything? I'm your mother.
Okay. Why'd you have to bring that up?
I think you'll be safer in France.
I don't see how.
I mean, isn't this a conversation they would have had before they left the house? Wouldn't all of this information be clearly understood between these two, making this an uncomfortable, silent walk to the docks? As opposed to this hot mess? Not a single line between them is natural. It's all expository. Take another listen.
I thought I was supposed to fight evil.
This means he is destined to fight evil.
I thought that was the whole point.
This means she was supposed to teach him how to fight evil.
God, why do you have to argue about everything?
This means he argues about everything.
I'm your mother.
This means that she is his mother.
I think you'll be safer in France.
This means she is sending him to France for his safety.
I don't see how.
This means he disagrees that France will be safer.
Is Auntie Tara a vampire hunter? No.
This means... Wait, hold on a second. Did he just say that his aunt is not a vampire hunter? Why the hell not? Is she his paternal aunt or something? If so, I am once again asking, where the fuck is this boy's daddy, Mama Belmont? Is he dead? If so, why and how? If he's not, then I have to ask where the fuck he's at right now and why the boy isn't being sent to his daddy. But fine, let's just assume he's dead. Why would you ever send your child to a non-vampire hunting caregiver? Why are there non-vampire hunting caregivers in the first place? How is that a viable option to you? Surely you have someone in your life that knows all about your duty as a Belmont, and they are in fact an ally to your family in that duty, right? Why are we pretending like vampire hunting and occult knowledge are still a secret in this day and age? Why would it ever be a secret after keeping these things secret led to the church persecuting the Belmonts into near extinction? This wouldn't be limited. People would be very aware of all this supernatural insanity, and the defenses against them would be common knowledge. So surely there would be entire groups and factions dedicated to fighting evil, as the little shit puts it. And surely as a Belmont, she would know those factions intimately. So take your kid to one of those factions for his protection instead of useless Auntie French maid. I'm with the kid. Start making sense, Mama Belmont, before you get you and your child killed. Anyway, what were we doing? Oh yeah, purely expository dialogue. Wonderful.
I know it feels like I'm sending you away.
This means she's sending him away, which we've already covered with the whole I'm sending you to France line, so thank you for that.
You are sending me away.
Yep, got it. Thank you. You're sending him to France. Got it. Shut up. Repeating the plot point 3 times within 30 seconds. Fantastic. Good God, this is already so shit.
I'm so sorry, my darling. But I have no choice.
Yes, you do. No, yes, you do.
You could have chosen to walk amongst a crowd of people. You could have chosen to drench yourselves in holy water all the way to the docks. You could have chosen to ask the police, or whatever civil authority exists, to escort your son to the docks so you can face the vampire alone. You could have chosen to tell anyone with a gun, or any weaponry at all, that a vampire is hunting you and you need help to slay it. Again, this should be common knowledge in this day and age, for all the reasons I've already listed. And you in your Belmont sigil dress should be well known by the civilians, so they'd automatically believe you and want to help. There are so many different choices you could be making right now, and you're just not, because this is obviously a Thomas and Martha Wayne in Crime Alley moment. So the writers are straight up lying and claiming there's no other way, this is inevitable. Tragedy will strike this loving family of 2. When I'm stuck on the fact that they're a family of 2, there should be several allies with her at all times, or even some peacekeeping force that she can call on in this desperate hour. But no, it's just impossible to avoid this fate, or something. On with the stupid generic origin story!
Don't listen to her, Victor. There's always a choice.
I know, right? I'm on the bad guy side and we're not even 3 minutes into the episode. Nice work, writers. I'm sorry. What? No. What the hell was that? Why the fuck are there candlelit street lights when we had electricity in the 1400s?
Magic lanterns.
Lightning, not magic.
You put lightning into lamps and you tell us it's not magic?
It's really not. The Parthians were storing lightning in jars 200 years before Christ.
Bullshit, what the fuck?
And I mean, we got magic and shit in this world. Why are there streetlights powered by anything technology-based when magic is supposed to be widespread throughout the world? Why aren't they fucking mystic streetlights that can't be blown out unless some super magical person wants to blow them out? Why are we relying on fucking candles to light our cities when we had electricity, magic, and other assorted factors centuries before?
None of this makes any sense.
Come on, Saj. It's just some streetlights. Chill out, man. What's the big deal? Oh, I'm sorry. Did you forget all of the world building and lore I was describing before this shit even got started good? Excuse me for holding these writers to the world building and setups of the preceding story this entire show is hoping to bank on. Please forgive me for desiring just a fraction of continuity and logical progression when it comes to the world they wish to tell their story in. That's my bad. I'm of the mind that when writing stories, everything is meant to be thought of and accounted for. But I suppose that's just my toxic trait. If they wanted candlelit streets in their story, they should have picked a different series to tell it in, because this world naturally advanced past that centuries before now, when Dracula's castle and the Belmont hold had electricity and a wealth of knowledge was readily available. And, mind you, actively being shared with the world to improve everyone's lives.
I'm sharing all of this with you so that you'll remember it and pass it on. Not just the war making, everything.
We're going to found a new village here, around the castle and the hold.
We could change everything here.
We're going to have schools, one of which will be all about the libraries of the castle and the hold.
I need you to be able to tell me what's wrong with this without me explaining it verbally.
If Benjamin fucking Franklin spread electricity to every nation in the world inside a few decades, imagine how quickly all of this fantasy sci-fi stuff would spread within several centuries. There is no reason why candlelit streets should be a thing. Period. The fact that they do exist is just indicative of how little these writers planned on adhering to or respecting the world they're shoving their disgusting fingers into to make this shitty story. It's horrendous, and it'll only get worse from here. So no, this isn't just a minor thing that doesn't warrant any scrutiny. It's indicative of a major problem that will continue to fuck up everything. And I do mean everything. Get ready for some trash, people.
Julia Belmont. Finally.
Introducing Count Blackula. Actually, Saj, he's an ancient Aztec vampire who actually Count Blackula, our spooky vampire antagonist for the evening. More on him in a second.
Go to the ship, Richter. I'll catch you up.
Well, would you look at that. The first good decision Mama Belmont has made, telling her child to run to safety while she deals with the villain. Good job. I have to wonder why it took so long for you to start making any amount of sense, but you got there eventually.
You've made a big mistake.
So he's an idiot.
Oi! Man cub, how about you get to the fucking docks, buddy? Listen to Mama Bear and get to stepping. You are a liability in precocious chibi form. Step on it.
My mom was gonna slice you in two.
In 250 years, do you know how many vampire hunters have promised to slice me in two?
Sick clapback, Blackula. But you should probably be moving a little bit quicker than that. You know, like at least half as fast as all the other main villain vampires in the series. Do that and you can beat up Mama Belmont. Why are you going so slow? Are you trying to savor the moment? I guess that's possible. He seems like a theatrical bastard. All right, I'll let it slide. For now.
Now, Richter, go to the ship.
Fucking finally. Now we can get this rumble going. Show me what you got, Nocturne. You've got very big shoes to fill, kiddo. Oh, so you just want to die. You either want to die or you want to get your mama killed. Either way, poor decision, lad. Very poor decision. Anyway, fight time. Well, isn't that just great? Magic, portals, and electricity. All things that society as a whole should be well aware of and using to benefit themselves. But nah, lol, let's just candle it up like we're Bath and goddamn Body Works. Screw you! I mean, I feel like we could have been using fire before this moment to really fuck up Blackula, but it's fine. The fight is just kind of fine right now. It's not nearly as good as the original series, but it's not bad. This is all fine. Except for Baby Belmont. He's a dumb fuck. But hey, what else is new? Well, hey, that's a neat trick. Good job, Mama Belmont. That's the second good thing you've done. Wow, I'm impressed. Although, when it comes to utilizing ice magic, there's a certain move that would have practically ended the fight. But hey, maybe Mama Belmont didn't get that far into Great Granny Sypha's magic cookbooks. We're still okay. Except for Count Blackula. He's not doing so good. A bit worse now, but hey, at least Mama Belmont is more competent than I gave her credit for. Maybe the rest of this show is gonna be more competent than I gave it credit for.
Oh my god, what is that? Oh my god! What is that?
What in the great googly moogly is that? Is it a snake? Is it a dragon? Or is it a mutated snake? Or is it a demonic dragon? Or could it be the unholy offspring of a mutant snake and a demonic dragon? I mean, I know Alucard could turn into a wolf, but wolves are real things that exist? This is, I don't even know, some deranged, scaly abomination born from a bad acid trip? I guess it's technically not inconsistent with anything, but I mean, it's not just me, right? That looks fucking strange. Not scary, not cool, just bizarre.
And I... Oh. What the hell are you... No!
You have got to be shitting me. The kid thought he could stop this thing that transformed while on fire with fireballs. Are you brain dead? What the fuck are you doing, you ferret? All you're gonna do is draw attention to yourself, which is the last thing you should be doing because guess what? You were supposed to run to the docks. Or at least run and get some help. Or fuck, you could run and get a spare gun from somewhere and try to use that against this thing. You'd have better luck shooting it with bullets than with that measly magic trick. Oh good, now Count Blackula is gonna use the child to trip up Mama. That's not predictable or anything. And she's gonna run in front of him with her arms stretched out. What does that accomplish, woman? Why not use your elemental magic to, I don't know, create some kind of protection around both of you? Like an ice shield, or a giant ice wall. Or hell, why not create an ice platform, throw baby Belmont on top, then launch him into the water while you get back to the fight? At least then he'll be out of the way completely, and we won't have to watch the rest of this prologue. Or, here's a crazy thought, why not use some teleportation devices to get him to the docks safely and instantly? Like, say, a transmission mirror? You know, those things that are insanely useful and would be widespread throughout the world at this point in time? No? You just gonna stand there like a spazzed out scarecrow and hope for the best? Okay.
Really?
Why didn't you dive out of the way with the kid? Why didn't you shoot at him? Why didn't you pull up ice spikes for him to crash into? Why didn't you do anything other than shove the child? She shouldn't have gotten hit. She saw him coming and could have done literally anything to avoid the attack. This is so stupid. And you dropped the whip? The fuck are you doing, Combat Karen? Oh good, we're doing this now. Wonderful. Hey, shitheel. How about helping out your old lady now, huh? You were all in for shooting fireballs a second ago, why not get back to that? This time, aim for the eyes, make yourself useful. No? Just gonna stand there when you could easily help your mom out? Yeah, okay, cool. This doesn't reflect poorly on you at all, kiddo. Where was this when he was about to tackle you, you fuck? Jesus, get your shit together, woman. Oh, okay then, Count Blackula is playing for keeps. Good on him. But sadly, Mama Belmont continues to be a butterball wombat, considering she should be doing something with her ice shield to get free. She is aware that ice constructs can be manipulated even after they've taken on a shape, right?
Here we go.
But hey, if that's too hard, why not push it up as hard as you can into Blackula's weird dragon mouth and see about freeing that arm, huh? Or, and this is just a thought, why not try conjuring up some more ice and cutting that arm off? Pull a Trevor, sacrifice a limb to win the fight. Why not? This is the life of your child on the line here. I think one measly arm is a small price to pay. Just ask Shanks.
You stupid bastard.
For fuck's sake, boy. Fire does not work on this thing. How do you not get that yet? Why not pick up the whip your mom dropped and try your hand at that? Or hell, if you don't know how to use it, wrap it around your fist and punch the damn thing. Do something that has a better chance of working than impotent fireballs. You're not even aiming for the eyes, come on. You're just shooting randomly. No wonder she wanted to get rid of you. You're a fucking embarrassment. Pick up the whip. Just do something that could actually work, you little shit. Or just keep doing what you're doing. I'm sure it'll turn out fine.
I'm sorry, Victor. I'm so sorry.
I mean, you could have just told him to get the whip for you, or encouraged him to use it himself, or told him to aim for the eyes. But no, yeah, giving up is also an option, I guess. Whatever.
Wait a minute, hold on.
Hold it, back it up. Something stupid just happened. Okay, the only reason Mama Belmont is in this position is because her arm got pinned under Blackula's tail. And once Blackula smashed through the ice shield, she turned away, presumably to hide her face from the ice shards. Alright, then he decides not to eat her, not to lightning eyeball her, not to smash her with his apparently extremely durable face. No, he decides to take a few seconds to lift his tail up, angle the sharpened point at her, and then proceed to shish kebab her. So the question I have, my dear Mama Belmont, is why didn't you roll out of the way once his tail lifted up? There was nothing pinning you down anymore. You could have rolled away, or at least made the attempt to roll away. Or, here's an idea, why not shoot some ice shards into his face to make him miss his shot? Or deflect the tail with another quick ice shield. You seem to be really fast when it comes to making those. Or whip up an ice shield to shove into his mouth before expanding it into a mass of spikes, stabbing him from the inside out. You haven't tried that yet, it could work really well. Also, you have a blade you could be using. I mean, aim for the eyes. That could easily make him miss and give you a chance to run with the kid or something. Also, I want to circle back to the whole holy water point from before. You do realize that if treated with holy water, her clothes would burn Blackula on contact, right? I'm just saying, there's so many little things that should be included in the arsenal of a Belmont centuries in the future from the original series. It's insane. This entire encounter would have been over if the writers gave one iota of a shit about world building and respecting the efforts and legacy of the characters from the previous series. But what do I know? I'm just a guy with a brain and a consistent standard for stories to make sense. I must be Satan himself, huh? Anyway, where were we? Oh, right. Uncle Ben got shot.
Call an ambulance!
I mean, the Waynes got shot. I mean, Mama Belmont got stabbed. Oh no, what a sad and totally unexpected turn of events that was in no way avoidable at all. Oh, the humanity.
Oh, come on. What is this? I mean, where?
There's no way her entire fucking face would turn 180 degrees from that. Fuck off. You just wanted this shot to happen. You didn't care if it made sense or not, did you? Here's a thought. Why not just leave her looking at the kid the whole time? That way she wouldn't need to be turned the fuck around randomly after death, right? That actually could have been more terrifying if she instantly went from staring at her son in regret and sorrow to seeing the reaction of being stabbed on her face until finally she bleeds out and dies, all while staring right at him, the light in her eyes tragically fading away. That's more effective on an emotional level, and it makes logical sense. You see, those two things aren't mutually exclusive. You can have both when you write something competently. So why not just do that? What was the point in turning her around only to turn her back around after death? This is so stupid. What is wrong with you people? Ah, shit, double homicide. Or delayed double homicide. What's happening?
Little boy Belmont.
So he's gay.
I know that feeling. That pain, that hate, that burning, unendurable need for retribution. Because you see, your mama took someone from me I loved, just as much as you loved her.
Okay, then what?
So, she had to die.
Well?
Oh, I could kill you too. And I will. One day. But not tonight.
Why? Why won't you kill him tonight? Why would you allow him to live knowing the need for vengeance will consume him and cause him to come after you one day? You know, the very reason why you just said you killed his mother? Why would you ever allow yourself to fall into the same position as her? Ugh. Count Blackula, I was rooting for you, man. You were kinda cool and competent, but now you've gone all stupid on me. Of course, we all know why he won't kill baby Belmont, because otherwise we wouldn't have a story. And how tragic would that be? However, when your story requires a rapid drop in IQ points for the main villain as its inciting incident, I think you need to rethink a few things, because the whole thing just might be sorta, kinda, incredibly shit. Just saying. So instead of having a transmission mirror that Mama Belmont could have sent baby Belmont through right to Auntie French Maid's front door, instead of having an entire posse ready and willing to take down Count Blackula with Mama Belmont, and instead of having Mama Belmont do any of the logical and expected things a magically inclined Belmont in their prime would do, they gave us this pile of rotting sewage. Hope you enjoyed it. 'Cause I sure fucking didn't. Yeah, you should cry. You were absolutely useless, and your presence turned your mama's brain into used muffin wrappers. Cry your little heart out on the boat ride to France because you are done, kiddo. Go learn how to bake baguettes or some shit. The vampire hunting gig is clearly not for you, sonny boy. Think about Trevor and his backstory. At an early age, he had to fend for himself in a world that actively vilified his entire bloodline. And still, my man was able to grow up fighting for his life and winning.
I'm Trevor fucking Belmont, and I've never lost a fight to man, nor fucking beast.
Absolute legend. Meanwhile, we have this little knobby-kneed sack of simpering wet napkins. You fucked around and found out instead of listening to your mother and running. You didn't even go get help. You didn't even aim for the eyes. You didn't even pick up the whip. Well, it's too late for that now, dillweed. Ugh, whatever. After a heaping helping of cliche trauma, baby Belmont finally runs to the docks and we've made it to the opening credits. Which means, yes, what you've just witnessed for the past however long is me ripping to shreds a pre-opening credits scene. Not the best step forward, I'm sure you'll agree. We've got a dingus for our parental figure who died like a row of grilled meat and vegetables. We've got a useless moronic brat for our main Belmont who whined about fighting evil, but when confronted with evil, threw what amounted to sparks at it, then made himself a target of said evil, which in turn got his mother killed. And finally, cried like a little bitch instead of swearing vengeance. He at least could have had the decency to do both like excellent child characters have done. Emphasis on child characters. We've got a fabulously brain-dead villain who should have died at least twice in this fight if the plot hadn't pulled double duty to save him. He then left the spawn of his nemesis alive, knowing that he will come back and try to kill him later in life, which is his exact motivation against Mama Belmont. And he knows the boy can already do magic, which means the longer he lives, the better he'll get. Preferably due to training and not bullshittery, but we'll get to that eventually. Blackula will only come closer to a very painful, mystical confrontation in the future. One he would easily be able to avoid if he just bit into some baby back Belmont ribs. The only language these characters know how to speak is exposition. There isn't an inkling of logical world building progression, and the plot is built on a foundation of nonsensical contrivances already. The dialogue is so fucking clunky, it's like listening to a symphony of tin buckets fall down a flight of stairs. But perhaps all that's forgivable. After all, everybody knows that starting stories is notoriously hard. Just look at how badly the first series started, with a simple and engaging meeting of two pivotal characters. Not only did they get to know each other rather quickly and sweetly, but so did the audience. We were subtly told the state of the world and why these two very different characters both stood apart from the common people, and could become friendly, only to fall in love and start start a beautiful life together. Visual storytelling was the main focus of the scene, the iconic corpses on pikes adorning Dracula's front lawn, Lisa standing before a large dark door leading into his castle, the contrast of the bright barren wasteland outside and the dark, refined, and luxurious interior of the castle. The dialogue is sharp, witty, engaging, and primarily there to display the personality and mindset of both characters. Lisa is forward, friendly, optimistic, and fearless. No one had to stop and tell me that in the scene. She just is who she's always been. In fact, all we get in response to Lisa's personality is Dracula marveling at her reaction to his open threats and intimidation tactics. Dracula is secretive, antisocial, pessimistic, a bit self-absorbed, cautious, yet sarcastic and dry, amused and appreciative of courage and honesty, and above all else, lonely. No one had to stop and tell me that in the scene, Lisa just fusses at him and encourages him in equal parts, which endears her to him. Both of them are curious, intelligent, open-minded, and have the capacity to be polite and comically blunt in equal measures. The plot is simple and character-driven. Lisa sought the help of Dracula and his insane technological advancements to learn how to better help people, and Dracula accepted after quickly taking a shine to Lisa's spunky attitude. The two agree to teach and learn from each other while Lisa takes residency in the castle for an extended period of time, until it takes a sudden twist with a time skip to Lisa's execution for being a witch that has married the devil. The backwards and superstitious state of the world we were informed of in the beginning of the scene is brought back in a powerful and haunting way. Dracula's pessimistic view of humans is proven to be despairingly accurate, and his dark nature he merely hinted at when threatening her is once again foreshadowed when Lisa begs him not to take his anger out on the people killing her. Her love for both him and the world is on full display, proving just how good of a person she was, which makes the tragedy of her death so much worse. Her death is understandable. Dracula wasn't there to protect her from these people because he did what she told him to and traveled the world like a man, as we learn shortly after. She is a non-violent person and didn't foresee herself becoming a target due to her optimistic nature and altruistic goals. She doesn't know magic, she doesn't have special equipment or weaponry to aid her, she isn't superpowered or supernatural at all, so she can't escape her predicament. A group of contemptible crusaders came against her while she was alone, so she can't avoid this predicament. It's inescapable and utterly gut-wrenching after her heartwarming introduction to Dracula. We got to meet her and slowly fall in love with her as Dracula did, which makes this so effective as a tragedy. We started simply, got to know both these characters, and started to see how wonderful their life together would be, only to skip to the soul-crushing end of that life. So the stage is set for Dracula's descent into madness and his vendetta against all of humanity, which is what begins the plot proper. Beautiful, impactful, intelligent writing which matches the vast majority of the series that this introduction precedes. On the entire other end of the spectrum, Nocturne starts with two of the stupidest Belmonts in existence desperately trying to exposit as much information as they can as unnaturally as possible before one of them dies needlessly. The world they inhabit is incongruent with the world that we were expected to have, the contrivances that make up the plot are glaring and obtrusive, and our main villain is a puppet to the writer's whims instead of an actual competent character. Quite the stark contrast, ain't it? But whatever, that's just the opening scene. Now that it's officially begun, surely it can only get better from here on out. Surely.